up YouTube? It's One Way Up here, back with another car review. And in front of you I have the 2021 Nissan Altima. So the Nissan Altima has been around since 1992. It is one of Nissan's most popular selling sedans. Now the Nissan Altima has been around for quite some time, and they have redesigned it to this current generation, which you see in front of you here. It was redesigned in 2019, and it is due for a refresh sometime soon, but changes for the 2021 model year are pretty much minimal compared to 2020 and 2019. But starting off with the design, they definitely have gone with a much sportier look for the Altima sedan. They have the same V-motion grille, but they've made it bigger, and it looks a lot more sporty than it did for the previous 2018 style that they had for the Altima sedan. The lights are sharper, the more angular. You have fog lights, but it does have a fake grille right there, but still it does look more sporty than it did before. Moving over to the side, you do have 18-inch rims. This is the SV model. So the different trims for the Altima are the base model. I don't know if it's still called the S, but then you have the SV, you have the SR, the SL, and at the top of the tier you have the Platinum trim. So moving over to the side of the vehicle, you can see that it has the floating roof line that they carried over from the Maxima when it was first introduced in 2016. It looks nice on the Altima as well. Moving over to the back of it, the lights have been changed. They're sharper as opposed to the previous model year. It's a little bit similar to the Maxima. It doesn't look quite as nice, but still looks decent. Then moving over to the back, you see the SV badge right there. And moving down, you do have those fake vents at the bottom, but other than that, on the SR and I believe the Platinum trim, you do get dual exhaust as well. This does not have exhaust, which is kind of disappointing that they got rid of the exhaust from the bumper on the Altima trims. You only get it on the SR and SL trims now. And moving over to the side, pretty much giving you a different view of it. Chrome handles. This is the SV trim, so you do have keyless entry with the buttons on the handle right there. The Altima has the same key as pretty much all Nissans. This key's been around for a very long time. It's light, it's not big, and they don't really feel like there's a need to change it. But here we go, you do get remote start on this. I'm going to start it up, and I'm going to unlock it with the door right here. So here, opening up the Altima, this is a black interior. You do have other color options that you can go with as well. I'm giving you guys a look at it. So the screen, everything, big change from the previous generation. Now I'm stepping in. Turn the AC down. The start stop button is down here. Before it was over here in this area. So now I just started the car, and I'm going to pop the hood to give you guys a look at the engine. Alright, so giving you guys a look at the engine. This is the SV, and this is equipped with the 2.5 liter 4-cylinder. It's on a CVT transmission, of course. That's what Nissan's been using for their vehicles. This has 182 horsepower, I believe, and 180 foot-pounds of torque. There's also an option to get the 2.0 liter VC turbo engine that's in the SR trim, and that puts out about 248 horsepower. And so if you're looking for more power, you can go with that engine option. But yeah, this engine, you know, it's pretty competitive for its segment. It's what you get out of a 4-cylinder. You don't expect any crazy power or anything like that from it, but it gets the job done. So stepping back into the Altima. Now, one thing I will say, it is hot outside, and one thing I hate about Nissans is that their climate control system sucks. So yeah, I have the AC on, but it takes a while to cool down. It doesn't have as much power as other manufacturers like Chevy or Hyundai, but I digress. Let's just look at the interior. Nissan, one of the big changes they did for this generation is that they've raised the screen up. Before it was lower and the screen was kind of small for the Altima sedan. So I personally don't like how the screen looks. I do like that it's bigger and it's easier to access a little bit, but I don't like how it looks tacked on. And these two knobs right here are a bit tacky in my opinion. I feel like it could have been integrated better, but some people may prefer that. Steering wheel has a flat bottom design, which is another cool thing that they've changed from the previous generation. It feels more sporty. And on the SR trim, you would get paddle shifters. Moving over to the side, you do have a nice gloss black material running alongside the door and over here in the middle. So I do like this material. It looks a lot better than it does in the base model, which is like a fake carbon fiber, or even in the SR trim they put like a fake carbon fiber here, or just like a grainy material. But this looks nice. The door, I do like the stitching that they have here. The door does feel kind of flat, but it is designed nicely, I will say. You don't get that much space in the door pockets. You can't really fit like a bigger size water bottle, only a small one. That's one thing I don't really like about Japanese cars as much as American cars. You do tend to get a lot more space in your side pockets. But over here you have your trunk, brightness settings for the gauge, trip reset. Well, you have automatic lights on the SV model. This is to control your screen. So you do have your digital speedometer. You can move over to look at your fuel economy, all your basic information that you would expect in most vehicles, your Bluetooth controls. This car does have forward collision. It does have blind spot and lane departure assist. Now the lane departure, it just vibrates on the steering wheel. It doesn't really keep the steering wheel straight as you veer off the lane, but I don't really feel the need to use it. But one thing I do find very annoying with this car is the front and rear automatic braking. Now I must say, this car feels like you're going to crash every single time you're reversing. Even though it does have a backup camera and I can clearly see what's behind me, the car is still going to slam on the brake once you get close enough to an object. And as you know, when you're parking, you're going to have to back up close to certain objects. So it's very annoying to have the brakes constantly be automatically applied every time you're reversing in a parking lot or maybe into your driveway against your garage. Very annoying, but you do have the option to turn it off. And these would be your cruise controls, all that stuff. Power button down here. The shifter does look better than it did in the previous model year. You do have a little bit of space here if you want to put your keys, some chains like I have. Cup holders are decent size. A little bit of storage over here. You do have USB port and this other port. I guess this is for the newer cords that they're using. Aux cable, 12 volt power outlet. Climate controls are over here. You know, pretty straightforward. This does not have dual zone, but I'm guessing in the SL and Platinum trims you would get dual zone, but climate sucks in the Nissan vehicles. It's not terrible, it just takes a while for it to cool down. But yeah, moving up to the screen, you have your menu controls right here. Day and night mode, if you want to change your presets, your source. You do have a camera button right here to adjust your settings. And let me go back out of there. As far as their infotainment setup, I don't like it. I don't like the colors. It feels kind of dark. I feel like Dodge's FCA's Uconnect is much better. Chevy's MyLink much better. Other manufacturers have a much better infotainment system in my opinion, but you know, it is what it is. This might not be your make or break if you're looking at purchasing this vehicle, but it is something to note. Moving up here, you have your lights. The lights are kind of ugly in my opinion, but it still gets the job done. You have your cup holder right there. Passenger side. Passenger seats are manual adjustable, but driver's side is I believe 8-way powered. So I have all my shit in here, but you do get a decent amount of space. There's no really anything blocking you from getting in and out of there, so that's what I like. It's just easy to open, and there's a big open space for you to access any things you have in the compartment. Decent size armrest, not really that soft, but it's not terrible. It does have a low mode drive, and if you want to go into sport mode, you just push this little button right here, which changes it to DS. You see the little S pop up, and if I push it again, it goes off. Now this is a CVT transmission, so when you put it in sport mode, it kind of holds the car at higher RPMs for longer. I prefer not to use it because I hate the way this transmission sounds. It sounds terrible when you punch it, but I will say that this car does get very good gas mileage, so that is something that you will be benefiting from if you were to choose this vehicle. But as far as the way it sounds, I feel like it sounds terrible when you accelerate. I do like how other manufacturers have gone with traditional transmissions, but some people may not care about that as much. Now I'm going to step into the back seat. So giving you guys a look at the back seat. This one has no climate controls in the back, but as I step in, you do get a USB port in the back. Okay, so I'm 6'3". I have the chair a little bit further back than how I normally have it, but even with that being said, I could sit back here. I feel like there's a decent amount of space. I'm not uncomfortable. If I stretch my head and sit all the way up, my hairs does start to rub against the top a little bit, but this doesn't feel like it's uncomfortable. So decent amount of space, nothing really exceptional back here, just 2 cup holders that fold down. But I wish there was climate controls back here. Then we step out. Okay, so opening up the trunk. The trunk, you do get a decent amount of space for sure. Seats do fold down, 60-40, and the trunk goes pretty low, so that's good. You do get a lot of depth as far as the trunk space, and that's pretty much it as far as the trunk. Okay, so that concludes my review for the 2021 Nissan Altima SV. You know, decent car, very competitive in its class. Now, it's up to you if you feel like you would want to opt for a higher trim. If you were getting the Altima, I would definitely suggest going for at least an SR trim. Definitely the SV and the base model I would pass on, but you do have other nice options to look for in the midsize, like the newly redesigned Hyundai Sonata. The Honda Accord's definitely been a great one as well. And with that being said, thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.